What if we took Giannis Antetokounmpo, one of the most dominant inside forces ever, and made him team up with Stephen Curry, the greatest shooter the game has ever seen? Meaning in 2009, Steph would be joined by the Greek Freak on the Golden State Warriors. Which begs the question, how many rings can this duo win together? Because even though their rookie campaign would be off to a slow start, with Steph fighting to find a fit in this league and Giannis only being a fraction of his peak physical form, they wouldn't have loser records like year one forever. Soon enough, they'll be joined in Golden State by other star caliber players and likely form some of the greatest dynasties imaginable. So it'll go without saying that this team is bound to see plenty of success, but will that be thanks to the three-point excellence from Steph, or will it be due to the interior dominance of Giannis? Well, to find out who is the better player, we'll be tracking their personal accomplishments along the way to see whose impact is larger, but for now, we're far away from that. With Season 2 kicking off, our stars were still far from the all-time greats that we know them as today, but that's not to say progress wasn't being made. Giannis in particular was having an impressive season that was worth talking about, producing notable jumps in his averages across the board, which was enough to earn him some recognition as the most improved player. Steph, on the other hand, remained at relatively the same stats overall as he did the year prior, but this season he would be a bit more efficient, posting a near 40% clip from behind the arc. And most importantly, this improvement was enough for our stars to make the playoffs. 49 wins for the 6th seed is a great season for the Warriors, and our duo is headed to their first ever playoffs together. But the challenge they were facing in round 1 was one of the greatest big men to ever touch a basketball. And he was also joined with an all-star point guard in the West, Tony Parker, a regular for 6th Man of the Year contention Manu Ginobili, and one of the greatest coaches ever. So it would go without surprise that our stars were down after 2, but they still had hope. With Game 3 heading back out to the Bay and in front of their home fans, both of our stars were about to completely shift the momentum of round 1. Because in Game 3, the Warriors opted to play a smaller lineup in an effort to outplay the Spurs with speed since they couldn't match their size against Tim Duncan. This adjustment allowed Giannis to flourish in Game 3, bursting past the 34-year-old Duncan with ease as he broke out for a new career-high 28 points, which was a major difference in comparison to the first 2 games and would follow with a snowball effect. After Antetokounmpo's big game, Steph was looking to elevate his own play next, and he was doing exactly that come the 4th meeting between these teams, becoming piping hot at just the right time to sink in 6 3-point shots in an effort to tie the series all back up. But unfortunately for Warriors fans, the trend of defending home court wasn't stopping anytime soon. As we traveled back to Texas for Game 5, the Spurs were back in full control. With a morale silencing game from Duncan, Golden State was right back to square one, now facing elimination if they lose just one more time. However, they weren't planning on giving up just yet. Yet again, like we've seen every single game in the series, the home team was refusing to let down their home fans. The Warriors were maintaining their composure while playing behind, and they were forcing one final Game 7, which had a far different feel than the previous 6. This time, it wasn't the home team in the driver's seat for the duration of the match. Now we were seeing a back-and-forth duel between the 2 teams, clearly both desperate to advance. Each side had something they were playing for, with the Spurs chasing success in the last couple of years with Duncan, and the Warriors looking to get their first playoff win in 4 seasons. But of course, only one side can come out on top. And with this one coming down to the wire, the Warriors had one final highlight left.
Here's Curry with a high bounce pass.
That lob would end up being the dagger to close this series out. And as the Warriors celebrate, even the media was joining in on the hype train of one of ball's most electrifying duos. But they'd come crashing back down to reality in round 2, running into the Black Mamba, who was on a quest to attempt a three-peat, and this one was ugly for our stars, getting swept swiftly by LA. But on the bright side, help was on the way. In this year's draft, Golden State was adding Klay Thompson, who was already a high-level shooter and solid defender. And even though he wasn't making a major personal impact, his skill set was drastically felt by his team, opening up the floor for Giannis by surrounding him with shooters and additionally relieving pressure off of Curry, allowing his play to shine even brighter. Their improvements couldn't go unnoticed, and they'd both be making their first All-Star appearance, but more importantly, their team record was significantly improved, which may have been a curse in disguise, because the 2nd seed landed them a round 1 series against the Grizzlies, and even with home court advantage, they were expected to lose. Memphis was the most physical and gritty team in the entire entire association, known for beating down their opponents and trying to outlast them in all-out war on the hardwood. They also had an advantage of size over the Warriors, with two of the better big men in the entire league in their front court, and their backcourt featured one of the best defenders ever, who was making Steph's life miserable. This meant the Warriors were having to work twice as hard in the series as they normally would, with every Giannis drive being harassed by large interior defenders and every attempt from Steph to get open being countered by the psychotic defense of Allen. And the frustrations were glaring as the stage was set for a Grizzlies upset. But Golden State Stars were doing everything in their power to shut down the round 1 meltdown. They just fought through a Game 7 last season as well, and were hopeful to put that experience to use here this year. But after tons of preparation for this finale of round 1 and near perfect execution on the court, the Warriors were still at risk of losing, taking a timeout late in the fourth quarter, and then in a position of uncertainty. Anything could happen late. Last season, the Warriors were in a close Game 7 that they won in the final moments with a big dagger. This season, though, they find themselves down by 3 late. Steph Curry with the ball. Mike Conley is guarding him now. No Tony Allen. That is a relief. But Mike Conley is still a very good defender. Bo get the screen. Steph Curry trying to get space. The step back. Conley's still there. Nowhere to go. He resets it over to right. Swings around Klay Thompson. Steph, a 3-second. Wow. The newest addition to the team this year, Andrew Bogut, got traded at the deadline. He's choking big. The Warriors' huge season. Getting second seed could be going to waste here if they're not able to get a stop. A pass down low, Randolph. The defense is able to get the stop. The Warriors likely have one final chance here. It's now or never time if you're Golden State. Steph Curry, one-on-one with Mike Conley. You might need a 3 here, and Steph can get it for you. The screen, Bogut. Curry open. Bang! It's good! But coming out of the timeout, Memphis still had plenty of time left and plenty of options. This game is still far from over. Memphis has plenty of time to make something happen here. Mike Conley, are they going to go for the last shot? Are they going to go quick and possibly play some defense? Mike Conley is looking like one-on-one with Steph. Maybe get involved with Zach Randolph. No, it's just Conley. Conley driving by Steph. His leg, it rattles in. They take the lead. No timeouts for Golden State. Curry to prayer. The heave is off. Wow! Just like that, Memphis was leaving the Warriors stunned, ending their season abruptly in round 1, but Steph was still holding his head high.
This year was it stings for sure because you fight for, like I said, 7 games. That's a lot of fighting, on the court, and we left it all out there.
This is where Curry's work ethic would start to show, spending the offseason training instead of enjoying his time off. All day and night shooting 3 after 3 after 3 with hopes that perfecting his shot would make a big enough push for him and his team. By the time the regular season rolled around, Steph was one of the hottest scorers in the entire NBA, upping his scoring averages from the season prior, and on top of that, shooting an absolutely blistering 46% from behind the three-point line on over 7 attempts a night. It was looking like his hard work over the summer was paying off, and not just for him. Giannis was loving the gravitational pull that Steph had on opposing defenses. With the lane wide open, it made for ample opportunities to score in the paint. Again, both were being recognized as all-stars, but additionally, they were dazzling fans with wins in both the three-point contest and the dunk contest, quickly becoming favorites of the league heading into the playoffs. Which it looked like this year they actually belonged in the postseason and deserved the second seed that they earned in the regular season, making quick work of Utah with a sweep. But this was only the calm before the storm, because there was a familiar face in round 2 who was looking to get revenge from a couple seasons ago, this time joined with a new friend, the up-and-coming star in the league, Kawhi Leonard, who not only was a scoring option for the Spurs, but more importantly was rendering Giannis nearly useless on the other end. And speaking of Giannis, this time around the small lineup was hurting more than it was helping, because Duncan was feasting versus a still undersized Greek freak, and with Kawhi taking the defensive matchup, this would be night and day compared to their last meeting, and I was having doubts. Warriors lose again. They're looking like frauds. I thought they'd do a little bit better by now with Giannis on a team, but maybe his lack of shooting hurts him more than it helps. It's now been 2 seasons in a row that have ended largely due to the Warriors being undersized, and one man was on a mission to change that. Giannis was taking it upon himself to live in the gym and start bulking up, which paid off exponentially in the regular season, now having plenty of strength to match up with larger opponents or to completely overpower smaller defenders. It was a clear breakout for our star, and not only on the offensive end. Even on defense, he was becoming more of a factor every night. So far, Steph and Giannis have been progressing at relatively the same pace, but this season is where we were first starting to see some separation. It was obvious this year that Giannis was the top dog. I don't mean just for the Warriors. Giannis is the top dog in the entire NBA, earning this season's MVP with a crazy stat line, 25, 13, and 8, which in 2014 is some insane numbers. Which means the Greek Freak has officially made the first strike in our Sims competition with an MVP. But will that lead to the team winning games? And to answer that, we first must talk about Giannis' teammates, because of course he can't do it all on his own. Steph was having another fruitful year, continuing to improve slightly each season. Klay was nearing closer and closer to an all-star level, and most notably this year, we had an addition of Andre Iguodala to the team, which helped the team not only sweep round 1, but also smoke Kobe for revenge in round 2, and finally against San Antonio in round 3, they made up for last season's shortcoming. Meaning they've officially flipped the script completely, and they are on their way to the NBA Finals against their scariest opponent yet.
It's game 1 of the NBA Finals. And for the first time ever, an NBA Finals game will be played in Oakland.
But it was against the back-to-back champions who had formed the league's top big three, headlined by one of the greatest ever, LeBron James himself, who was in the midst of a legendary run, primed to make a statement for his legacy, looking to complete the possible three-peat. So he came out in game 1 putting on a clinic, scoring the ball at a sinister rate, but unfortunately the rest of his team wasn't on the same page. Dwayne Wade was facing a sharp decline at this point and was limited in his production. Chris Bosh would provide some help, but with a shift in his game as a stretch big, he was no star. And Mario Chalmers was nothing but free opportunities for Stephen Curry, who in his first ever finals game was pouring in buckets left and right, finishing the game with 37 points on incredible efficiency, leading all players, and that was enough to secure the win in game 1. And with the second game back in Golden State again, our stars had a huge opportunity and the fans were ready.
For the Warriors, they look to take another step closer to an NBA title, something fans in the Bay Area haven't seen in 40 years.
With another major offensive exhibition from Curry, he was putting his group in position to get a commanding lead in the series, but there was more to the story. LeBron was going to be playing just as great as Steph, and very rarely was he letting his team go down 2 games in a playoff series. So it was no surprise that he was dragging Miami to a competitive match, and late in the game, it was still up for grabs, with both teams in position to possibly pull this out. There was a lot at stake here. The Warriors had a chance to acquire a very dominant 2-game lead, which would be difficult for Miami to recover from. But on the other end, the Heat had an opportunity to steal game 2 on the road and take home court advantage. So without a doubt, in these final moments, with the results of game 2 still up in the air, we were in for an exciting show. We have a close one here late in game 2, and this is a huge game. The Warriors could go up 2-0, and the Heat are trying to tie this thing back up. That's a major difference in the finals here. Steph Curry, Mario Chalmers, he's been cooking them all night. Steph driving in, Chalmers draws the foul on him. Steph actually did split the free throws. Great free throw shooter. He missed the second one. The Heat with it now in a mismatch. Steph with LeBron. LeBron, he could have dunked it, but the pull-up still goes. Only up by 1 now. Golden State with the ball. Steph Curry does have takeover. We could see a huge shot from here late versus Mario Chalmers. Getting the screen from Andrew Bogut. Steph, the 3, pull up. It's good. He does it again. We saw a huge basket from Steph against the Spurs a couple years back. He does it again here against Miami. This time, can he hold on to the lead? Up by 4, 26 left. They get it down low to Chris Bosh. Bogut on him. He's out of bounds. Bogut smothering him. He wasn't out of bounds. Chris Bosh at the line. I guess it was a block and foul. He missed the first, makes the second. Now it's only a 3-point game, but I imagine the Miami Heat are going to foul Steph Curry, probably going to the line. This time, Steph did hit both free throws, up now by 5. The Miami Heat are going to need a miracle if they win. One stop here from the Warriors, and you pretty much win game 2. Mario Chalmers open in the corner. They get it to him. They go down low to Bosh again. Wade, that's a great play. Wade's leg gets 1 and 3. They need an inbound steal. They're going to have to play the foul game again. They get it to Steph again, over to Klay this time. Klay does hit both free throws as well, but it's still possible Miami could pull something out in this final moment. 17.5 left. Inbound to LeBron James. I think you need a quick 3 here. You can't keep going for the 2s. Chris Bosh the screen. It might be a LeBron 3. Wait for 3. He doesn't do it. Iguodala with the steal. Wow. And with Iguodala hitting the first and the second free throw, this one is over. Following the huge win in game 2, that momentum was carrying for our group as they headed out to Florida to match up with the Heat in Miami. But while the location may have been different, the results weren't. It was still an all-out barrage of offense from Steph Curry, and nothing the Heat were sending his way was slowing him down, taking over the game yet again and leading his team to a practically insurmountable lead. But you can't put anything past LeBron. because like we've seen in the past, he stays composed in the face of allegedly impossible circumstances. Which in Game 4, we were seeing one of those all-time great performances that we've come to love from James. He was taking over every single aspect of the game and everything was in his control, leading both teams in nearly every statistic and doing whatever it takes to keep his season alive, securing the win as he takes it game by game. Continuing in Game 5, we're still playing with his back against the wall. He was now going into enemy territory and executing as if this was just a random regular season game on a Tuesday against a below 500 team. He was making it look flat out easy, taking yet another game on the road to get within 2 wins of a ring. If the Warriors blow a 3-0 lead, I might actually lose my mind. Luckily for our stars though, this one wasn't going much further. They'd finally regained their composure in Game 6 with another stellar showcase from Chef Curry, smoking Chalmers every trip down and finally getting it done.
And it's over! The championship is back in the Bay for the first time in 40 years.
The Warriors were winning their first championship after several shortcomings, and a well-deserved Finals MVP was going to Steph Curry, which in turn means he's tying things right back up with Giannis in our trophy race, and he wasn't stopping there. The next season, after reaching the pinnacle of the NBA mountain and being rewarded as the top player on the roster, he was now fueled to continue his pursuit of more accomplishments, which he'd set out to do exactly here in 2015, enhancing his offensive play to even new heights, to the point that there was no argument for any other player in the league to be as valuable as him, officially earning his first MVP, which now added another trophy to the competition, extending his lead even further. On the bright side for Giannis, he was right there with Steph as far as making strides in his game, also improving every single night, and even though he didn't earn an MVP, he'd be getting credited for the Defensive Player of the Year this season, and pairing that with the growth of Draymond Green defensively, and this team was on fire all year long, carrying that same intensity into the playoffs where everything looked like the Warriors' playground. This was the start of their dynasty in real life without Giannis, so by adding him to the roster, it was no shock that they'd be winning their conference for another finals trip. This is where the Warriors start dominating in real life, so we'll probably see the same with Giannis and starting this year as they run into a very familiar face. Again, they were facing LeBron in the finals, this time joined with All-Star guard Kyrie Irving on the Cavaliers, and also the All-Star fresh out of Minnesota Kevin Love rounding out the front court. But this wouldn't be half the battle that it was last year against the Heat, because Golden State defeated this Cavs team in 6 in real life without Giannis, so by adding an MVP level Greek freak, this was a massacre. The Warriors were winning this series with ease after 5 games, but the question would be, who is the MVP? On one hand, you had Giannis averaging a double-double while taking on the responsibility of guarding LeBron James and leading all players in the series in rebounds per night. On the other hand, you had Steph Curry playing completely out of his mind right now and easily being the most lethal offensive weapon we've seen in the finals, averaging a sizzling hot 32.3 points a night with some unearthly levels of consistency, but only one can win the award. And it was once again Stephen Curry for back-to-back seasons, extending his lead to 2 trophies over Giannis. And to keep up with that trend, the 2016 season was a near deja vu, with Curry winning a back-to-back MVP during the regular season for his remarkable year, eventually culminating in another finals appearance versus the Cleveland Cavaliers, where this time history would be rewritten, because with Giannis added to the mix, there was no hope of any 3-1 comebacks this time around, meaning Golden State was winning a 3rd straight championship, with Steph once again receiving the honors, taking a massive 4-trophy lead over Giannis in our competition here. But there would be plenty of time for him to catch up, because the Warriors were looking completely unstoppable, and we have yet to even see them at their peak. Kevin Durant was joining the Warriors that offseason, now adding another MVP to the mix of 2 MVPs, 2 Defensive Player of the Years, and the league's top 3-and-D All-Star. So I think it goes without saying, the rest of the league stood no chance.
Get on what it is, what it does, what it is, what it isn't. Looking for a better way to get up out of bed instead of getting on the internet and checking a new hit. Me get up, first shot, come strut walking. A little bit of humble, a little bit of cautious. Somewhere between like Rocky and Cosby's for the game. Nope, y'all can't copy yet. Glad moonwalking, and this here is our party. My posse's been on Broadway, and we did it all way. Chrome music, I shed my skin and put my bones into everything I record to it. And yeah, I'm on. Let that stage light go and shine on down. Got that Bob Barker suit game and Plinko in my style. Money, stay on my craft and stick around for those pounds. But I do that to pass the torch and put on for my town. Trust me.
Over the next 3 years, the Warriors were winning 3 more finals in a row, thanks to the new super team in the Bay. And while KD received the 2017 Finals MVP, much of the rest of the success was going to Giannis, who not only was winning another regular season MVP, but closing out the other 2 finals as the Finals MVP, now creeping back within 1 trophy of Curry in our competition, and all seemed perfect for this duo. But all good things eventually come to an end, because the next season they found themselves down 3-2 in the conference finals against LeBron James and Anthony Davis. But before we see what happens in game 6 facing elimination, let's first talk some backstory of how we got here. For starters, Kevin Durant had left the group to move on to new ventures out in Brooklyn, which did actually open things up more for our duo's personal success, leading Giannis to putting up monster numbers now that he got more looks to help him earn a back-to-back MVP. But the team's record definitely was taking a hit this season. They were still a great team, loaded with a few all-stars, and were breezing by the first couple rounds of the playoffs, but the problem was finding motivation was becoming more difficult after winning 6 straight. Which brings us to the conference finals, where LeBron James was desperately looking to finally defeat this Warriors team and get revenge, catching them off guard by quickly going up 2-0 in the series and eventually fighting for 1 more to give them the big lead. Taking us back now to game 6, where late in the game, after scoring 41 points, LeBron had his Lakers in position to stun the Warriors. They only had a couple minutes left for a miracle, and it was up to our stars to try and save their own legacy. It has literally been years since the Warriors have been in a position like this, backs against the wall, 1 loss away from elimination. The Lakers are up by 4 late with the ball, 2.5 minutes to go, trying to extend their lead now. The Warriors are going to be in bad position if the Lakers score here. This is a huge defense possession. LeBron James, Anthony Davis pick and roll. LeBron ice on 1-on-1. He was looking for AD, couldn't get it to him. LeBron, the hook from the free throw, it bounces off. Golden State now with the ball. Steph Curry with it, just over 2 minutes. This is a big possession. Steph, is he clutch again? Steph this time misses. Curry has had some huge moments in the past, but this time, at least so far in this game, Kuzma, his 3, it's off as well. Curry missed the 3, and now Kuzma's missing the 3. They're pushing the pace though. Burks with it. LeBron guarding him. They're throwing it down low to Giannis. Giannis, Kuzma on him. That's a mismatch. Giannis, tough lay is good, gets with it too. Another big possession for the Los Angeles Lakers, but an even bigger possession for the Warriors. They need a stop here. They get it down low to LeBron. LeBron James in the post. LeBron, the drop step. The little shot over Giannis. Giannis denies it. The Warriors pushing into the fast break. Curry from deep for the lead. Oh! The Lakers with the ball now, slowing it down. LeBron again. He hasn't been able to do much here. He gets it over to Kyle Kuzma. Kuzma attacking Giannis. No shot. LeBron now, Burks on him. LeBron decides of driving in. LeBron, nowhere to go. He kicks it out Green. Rondo's not gonna shoot the 3. Anthony Davis over Draymond. Wow. About a minute left. Steph Curry with the ball now. He has not done a good job in the final moments of this game 6. Steph with it. Draymond on the screen. Steph Curry looking for an opportunity. Steph driving it in. Rondo guarding him, the great defender. He's slowing it down. He has nowhere to go. 50 seconds left. 8 seconds left on the shot clock. He's getting the screen from Draymond. He's going to try it again. Steph to pull up over Rondo. Bang! Steph gets him within 1. The Lakers with the ball now. If you can get a stop, if you're Golden State, you're in phenomenal position. LeBron and AD pick and roll. We've seen it a million times. Oh, Draymond, the foul. He almost had the steal. Anthony Davis, free throw number 1. It rims out. The Warriors have a chance. AD did end up hitting the second free throw, which puts the Lakers up by 2. But if you're the Warriors, you have 30 seconds. Plenty of time to tie it. Or with Steph Curry, if you can get a good look, you can easily take the lead here with a 3. Steph, he was open for a second. He didn't shoot it. He could have had it, to be honest. Steph Curry 1 minute beat Rondo. He's getting that screen from Draymond again. Steph Curry, is he clutch? One more time. We need it from Steph. Driving into Rondo. A lot of contact there. Rondo to block, denies him. Wow. Huge defensive possession from Rajon Rondo. The Lakers are up 3 after Kuzma hit the first free throw. No timeouts for the Warriors. They really need him to miss here. Come on, Kyle. Give him 1 miss. Give him hope. He hits both, down by 4. You still have enough time though, but you have to go quick. And I think you either need a very quick 2 or you need a 3. Giannis with it. Klay, this is the guy you want to shoot it. Either Klay or Curry. Klay's 3. Bang! He keeps him alive. 6.4 left. Of course, they're going to be playing a free throw game here. You just have to get it inbound. And Rondo, that's who you want at the line. Rondo hit the first free throw, puts him up by 2. Either way, the Warriors going to have to go quick. No timeouts here. Make or miss. It rattles in. Hopefully, the 2K AI does not have somebody shoot a half-court shot. That'll actually kind of annoy me. Giannis pushing a pace. 3 seconds left. Klay in the corner over Green. Oh, my goodness. Wow. And in the blink of an eye, the dynasty comes to a screeching halt. After 6 straight championships, our duo finally loses, and the media was all over it.
Can the Warriors win a championship without Durant?
No, not this year. No way. I don't see it.
But Steph Curry was using all the negativity as fuel next year. He was having possibly his best season of his entire career here, with a new high for his points per night averages and in the MVP conversation all season long, and honestly would have won it, but Nikola Jokic was having a mind-boggling year and would win it instead. Regardless, it was Steph having the last laugh, because come the postseason, he was the undisputed best player in basketball. And as he runs into Denver in the conference finals, he was set in the MVP package, and Steph and Giannis were both absolutely hyped after winning the series, earning yet another trip to the finals after only a 1-season hiatus, and now had a chance to reclaim their throne. And with the Trae Young-led Hawks as their opponent, this would be far from interesting. Steph was leagues ahead of Trae as far as who was the better point guard. Giannis was miles better than any of the Hawks supporting cast, and hell, even Klay Thompson and Andrew Wiggins were better than any of the Hawks. They really had no business even making it this far, other than the fact that 2K Sims absolutely loves Atlanta for some reason, but the series was going to be ending just as fast as it began. The Warriors were sweeping Atlanta to once again reach the ultimate achievement, earning ring 7 together, and Steph was capping off his outstanding season by finally getting his recognition, once more reclaiming the lead on Giannis in our competition. And speaking of Giannis, it'd be the same story told many times before. When you take the team that won the championship that year, like you have in 2022, and add an MVP level player to the roster, nobody should be confused that they're winning it again. The Warriors would be smoking the Celtics in the finals this time around, with an even more controlling victory than real life 2022 season, and the finals MVP recipient would stay true to real life as well, with Steph winning it yet again. But from here, things would be very different than real life, because in 2023, the Warriors are making big strides in the playoffs, defeating team after team in the West and eventually moving past the Western Conference, advancing to the finals against Boston again. And things really didn't differ much from the prior year. It was a bit closer with the Celtics improving and some of the Warriors players regressing, but at the end of the day, it was still clear that Steph and Giannis together were too much, winning yet another championship together to complete another three-peat, and this time it was Giannis taking home the finals MVP, getting back within one of Steph, and the rivalry with Boston wasn't over. Because while 2024 would be a letdown, facing the Nuggets for the 3rd time now in the conference finals and finally falling to the Joker, they'd be bouncing right back in 2025 after the acquisition of Buddy Hield, whose shooting replaced the washed Klay Thompson perfectly, eventually leading up to one final duel with Boston and their new super team with Porzingis and Holiday. This time around was going to be far more competitive than the last 2 matchups, with Tatum playing his all-time best basketball of his career. He was going shot for shot with Steph, and while he wasn't as good of a shooter, his consistency at attacking for high quality shots was keeping him on pace with the greatest point guard in NBA history. This isn't to say that Steph wasn't playing great though, because this was easily one of his best finals performances on his resume, and he was doing it with all the lights shining on him to see how he plays in his final season. Additionally though, Jaylen Brown was having a very strong performance as well, just as hopeful as Tatum to finally defeat the Warriors, who have beat them so many times. Giannis though was also hot in this matchup, with nobody on the Celtics roster capable of slowing down or remotely stopping the Greek Freak. He was running rampant, and it was a major part of the Warriors having the edge, helping his team go up 3-2 in the finals. And as they enter game 6, one single win away from their last championship, our 2 stars will both come out and put on one final show for the fans, each playing at the highest level we've seen from them when it all mattered the most, in the face of the league's top super team, all to win a championship one last time together. But as the final curtain prepares, who will be the finals MVP? Either Giannis wins to tie this thing all up, or Steph runs away with it. And the only problem was, they both played great and deserved it, just like their entire careers, dating all the way back to their first game together in 2009. Through the progression of both stars, with Giannis earning the most improved player, the hardships they felt together fighting in the playoffs early, the bounce backs by training to become MVPs, as well as multiple iconic game-winning and clutch shots from Steph and Curry, which all boils down to this one final moment, where Giannis Antetokounmpo is crowned as the last finals MVP of this sim, tying everything up in our trophy race competition, meaning as the team celebrates raising another banner and their final set of rings together, it would be up to all of you watching to decide who was the better player in this simulation.